Michael Jordan secretly signed 6 of his iconic 1986 Fleer rookie cards recently. Could these cards be worth $100 million? On April 17th, 2024, there was an article posted by Darren Ravel. The title says, Michael Jordan did secret signing of 1986 Fleer rookie cards. The article says multiple sources tell Collect that Jordan did, in fact, do a coordinated signing within the last month of 10 Fleer rookies. Sources said that the collector paid PSA to fly down to Florida, where the signing took place, to witness the signing and to make sure everything went smoothly. The collector had at least 6 PSA 10s worth $180,000 each, sources said, which were cracked out of their cases for the signing. It also says that Jordan was not paid for doing this. From my understanding, there was 10 1986 Fleer Jordan PSA 10s, and only 6, I guess, qualified to stay a PSA 10. So the other 4, I'm not sure what happened to the other 4. I guess those were a PSA 9, I'm assuming. 4 of the 6 cards have an inscription on them. 5X NBA MVP, 6X NBA Champ, 84-85 Rookie of the Year, 87-88 Defensive Player of the Year. Also, something that is very important to point out is these are the only 6 Jordan Fleer rookies that have a 10 grade for the autograph. These are the only 6 that have ever been graded with a 10 autograph and a 10 for the card. So it's a dual PSA 10 and a autograph 10. According to the Collectible Guru, he posted these tweets on September 7th, 2024. He said that the collector worked with Michael Jordan to practice his signature and inscription on 1986 Fleer Commons prior to having him sign the rookie cards. And this collector also owns an additional 27 copies of the 1986 Fleer Jordan PSA 10s. In total, he owns 33 of the 324 of the PSA 10s in the pop, accounting for 10.19% of all copies in existence. So I'm assuming that means he owns 33 Michael Jordan PSA 10s. Now, I don't know about the other 4 that were not qualified to meet the PSA 10 criteria. So maybe he has less now than 33. I'm not sure about that. Now, a lot of people are complaining about the autograph. It just looks kind of ugly, and he should have used a different color, which I would agree. I'm not trying to be a hater or anything, but a white or I guess a silver, thinner pen would have been a better choice. And some people actually think they ruined the card. They would rather have the PSA 10. I obviously would disagree with that. People are just being a bunch of haters. I would definitely want this card more than any other Fleer Jordan. These are the only PSA 10s with a 10 auto. I mean, these are very significant. I'm not going to downplay these at all. But, you know, the choice of color on this marker was just not the best. You just can't see it very well on the card. And on top of that, these 6 cards may be the only 10 autos that will ever be graded. The Collectible Guru said that Jordan's team ultimately decided on using the thicker blue Sharpie to sign these cards, and the collector presented Jordan with a better pen, but Michael Jordan's team preferred the thicker, bolder option. I don't know about that, but you would think if you took the time to fly out there and coordinate this, you would want to get a good pen to sign the cards. It seems like maybe the collector's just trying to hype up a story here. He also said that he was offered $100 million. Definitely do not believe that at all, that he was offered $100 million. Now, I could see these cards selling for $6 to $10 million. Maybe not right now, but down the road, I could definitely see that. But nowhere near $100 million. A couple months ago at the National Card Show, these cards were on display. And then something else that hasn't been really talked about is the collector got this card signed by Jordan also. So this has Kobe on the front and Michael Jordan on the back. And this was signed by Kobe on the front, and then the collector got Jordan to sign it on the back. And this graded out a 10 autograph and then the card is a PSA 8. So I wanted to find what these cards looked like before they were autographed. I wanted to see if I could find any sales of these cards. This is the one that starts with the 07 certification on the top. On the left is the enhanced picture from the Collectible Guru's Twitter. The one in the middle is the old picture. The one on the right is the PSA scan from the PSA website. For the 6 cards that we're going to look at, I just want to see the most recent public sales. Obviously, these could have sold privately. We don't know, but it's cool to just see the timeline of how much these cards have increased in just 5 to 6 years. This card sold December 15th, 2018 for $27,860. What I found interesting about this one is there's another Michael Jordan PSA 9 that was graded in the same submission, it looks like, or it appears to be, because the serial number is 28 and the 10 is 29. So you have a PSA 9 graded and then a PSA 10 graded. This is the 208 certification. This one sold for $31,100 on August 2nd, 2016. It also sold on October 30th, 2016 for $22,800. And what I like to do is look at the other certification numbers that are around these cards just to see what else was graded around it. And for this one, there's actually a certification number that does not come up, and it's the 33. So the one that was graded right before this one, for some reason, it's not in the database. So I'm not sure if PSA, if they mess up on something, they just kind of get rid of the certification number, or does that mean that there was a card that was fake or determined fake? I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on that. Here is the 283 certification number, and this sold for $24,000 April 18th, 2018. And then 2 certification numbers that are pretty close to this one, which is 42 and 43, are not in the database. This is the 246 certification number, and this one sold for $38,100 July 7th, 2016. Now, what's interesting about this one is the certification number that was graded right before this one also received a PSA 10, and this is from the Connor Toole collection. So we have 2 PSA 10s back to back. This one is the 310 certification number, and this one sold for $20,400 April 30th, 2017. Now, this is the one that's a little strange to me. The one that was graded right before this one also received a PSA 10. Before that one also received a PSA 10. The one graded after the 07 also received a PSA 10. That's 4 PSA 10s in a row. And then 04 is not in the database. 09 is not in the database. 02 is not in the database. Then you have this incredible Babe Ruth that was graded. You have 4 Michael Jordan PSA 10s, all graded back to back. Now, I'm assuming they're in the same submission, right? Because when you send your cards off to PSA, you'll get back all your cards and they correspond with each other. Your submission will correspond with the certification numbers. Now, with that being said, I'm not sure if back in the day, I don't know if this was 10 years ago or whatever, maybe 15 years ago, if you resubmitted your cards to PSA for like a new label to get slapped in a new PSA case, did they change the certification number? And maybe that's why it looks weird that these 4 PSA slabs, PSA 10s, are back to back. Maybe these were regraded because the owner just wanted to confirm that these still met the PSA 10 criteria. Or maybe PSA just wanted to regrade them because, I don't know, maybe the slabs were cracked, like the old slabs. I could see maybe if you send in, an older slab that is cracked or something wrong with the case, maybe then PSA wanted to just confirm that it still met the PSA 10 criteria. So then maybe these 4 were sent in the same submission, but they then received all new certification numbers. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I'm really not sure. Now, I can confirm that these 4 cards were graded before 2015 because we have a sale of the one that ends in 05 on May 12, 2014. According to this form, PSA's very old grades had cert numbers from 30 million, 40 million, 90 million, so they had to skip those numbers when their numbering system finally caught up to those certs. So if you see any cards between 30 million and 43 million, they would need to have the most current Lighthouse label to be graded between 2012 and now. A user also said that in the early days of PSA, they bounced around the cert number range a lot, depending on the type of submission and the year. So ones with cert numbers starting with 30 million were graded like 20 plus years ago, and ones starting with 21 million were only graded 7 years ago. So from my understanding, this looks like PSA label style 5, but it also kind of looks like style 7 or 8. So I think it's one of those 3, which I believe puts this before 2008. So these cards were graded a long time ago. And I still don't know if, because the certification numbers, some of them don't pop up, I don't know if that just means they messed up on the label and so they get rid of the label, or does that mean a card was determined not real? I came across this video and this makes me think that Jason was maybe the person that submitted some of these because he was opening up so much boxes and sending in so many cards to PSA. That would be my guess, but I don't know that for sure. That's just me speculating. But here's the clip.
You are on record of having graded over 100 of the 300 MJ Fleer PSA 10 from 1986. Can you please confirm that? And if so, how can you possibly have done that without trimming?
I don't know if it's 100. Like if there's 315 in the pop, like maybe I have 75. But I have the most for sure. I've cracked a ton of wax. I've cracked a ton of 9s. That card wasn't always what it's worth now. There was a point when a Jordan 10 was $5,000-$6,000. It wasn't scrutinized. Most people don't realize that Michael Jordan is one of the easiest cards in the set. Jordans come out like extremely clean. When I was cracking my boxes from 99 to 04 is when I did the majority of it. I was paying between 12 and 15,000 a box. What they didn't realize is on a bad box, I would lose $4,000 or $5,000. On a good box that came centered, I would make 150 to 200,000. Jordan's like literally easiest card in the set. It's graded harder because it's Jordan. He's in the list of the 10 guys that if they're centered, they rarely come with print. They usually come centered. In 86 Fleer boxes, the corners are always 10s. If the corners are not 10s, you have a resealed box.
This is the last one. This is the one that starts with 413 certification number. This one sold for $24,000 November 14th, 2018. The card that was graded right before this PSA 10 received a PSA 9. So you have a PSA 9 and a PSA 10 back to back. And then the certification number right after the PSA 10 is not in the database. When a certification number is not in the PSA database, it will show up one of these 3 things. The first one is it'll say it is deactivated, and it'll give the date that the card was actually deactivated in the database. As of recent, they do not provide the date anymore that the card was deactivated on. So they just say that the card was deactivated, but they now do not tell you the date. The second option that it will say is it has been temporarily deactivated as a precaution due to its known counterfeit in the market. Now, I actually appreciate that they do this because some people make fake slabs or, a fake label and then they act like they have the real thing. I guess there's multiple ways people can do that. They can make a fake label. Sometimes the card's actually real in the slab, but it's not the same, card. So you have multiple things people can do with that. But nowadays on the new PSA labels, they have this, I think they call it lighthouse logo effect thing, where it shows the fugitive ink pattern on the label. Now, with that being said, people do make fake labels of the new slabs, but I haven't seen anything that amazing or incredible yet, but it does seem like they're getting better and better of making these fake labels. I've also seen people get black lights, and it helps you just see the logo on the PSA slab. It's really not necessary to buy that light. You can see it under any light. The logos on the slab. People are going to get better at trying to fake these new slabs for sure. But when it's deactivated in the database, it just alerts, a collector or someone that's trying to buy a card so they don't make a mistake and buy the fake one. Now, the third option here that it will say is, it says, we're sorry, the certification number provided was not found in the database. So this option here, I don't know what this really means. So I actually reached out to PSA customer service to see what they would say about this. What they said is, when a number is not found, it can mean a number of things. Anything from the data has not yet been entered for that item, or it's something we don't have record of, or there could have been a data entry error and it was taken down as a precaution until the customer with the item reaches out. Maybe it's just like a data entry error, but it's weird that all of these are around these PSA 10s, like in this submission. That's what's kind of just weird about it. And from the cards we just looked at, this is the only thing it ever said. It never said deactivated, never said it was temporarily deactivated. It was just saying this right here, that it's not found in the database. And also, I'm not saying any of these are fake. There's no evidence that any of these cards around these Jordan Fleer rookies are fake. I just think it's weird that there's a lot of cards not in the database around these cards. Now, if we get more information later down the road, then that will change things. All I can say is it's just a little weird. And it's very interesting to see like 4 Michael Jordan PSA 10s back to back like that. Maybe it's just somebody that was opening up boxes and just picked the best ones. They had a good eye. It looks like they had a lot of good cards in that submission, like Babe Ruth and, different high-end cards. A while back, I did a video on this Michael Jordan autographed rookie card. This guy bought this on PWCC, and the autograph ended up being fake. It was never deactivated in the database. All it said was the certification number provided was not found in the database. And then come to find out, all the numbers around that certification number, they were all deactivated or not in the database as well. And there's actually some new updated information about this. When I made the video about this, the certification number with the numbers ending in 39, the card was not deactivated when I made that video, but now it has been deactivated. So I'm not sure when they deactivated that card, because they don't even put the dates now when you type the certification number in. They used to give you the date when they deactivated the card, but it looks like they do not do that anymore, which I think that was kind of helpful to see when the card was deactivated on. I actually think this helps the value of these 6 cards that we're talking about, because if we start finding out that a lot of these Michael Jordan autographed rookie cards from the past are not actually legit, then the less of something there is, or the rarer something is, the more valuable it becomes. On the PSA Pop Report, it says there's around 80 something autographed Michael Jordan rookie cards. That probably means there's a lot less. So I have no idea how many are legit, if they've removed some or not. For example, here is a Jordan autographed rookie on the PWCC YouTube channel, and obviously PWCC is now Fanatics Collect. I'm kind of surprised this is still up on their YouTube channel, but this card has been deactivated. And I'm not going to get deep in the weeds into this video, but as you can see, it has this like hologram sticker on the back. These were, I guess, authenticated by Upper Deck, but who knows? On September 27th, 2024, the Sports Card Madness podcast posted this video, and they are claiming they know the identity of the Jordan 1010 cards.
It took me a little while. I thought I'd get him in a few days. It took a month. But what's interesting here, so first of all, he wants to be anonymous. So I'm not going to like dox him or anything like that. I respect that as a man. But, I will say this, it's not Rick Probstein at all. That was like a lot of people's guesses because he had a lot of 1010, not sorry,
Yeah.
10 MJs.
Sure.
It's a name that no one will know. He is a complete and total ghost. The only thing I'll say is the way he pulled this off wasn't like he lost a bet to Jordan and all these like weird stories. It's really simply he had a multi-year two-way profitable commercial relationship with Jordan, and they respected each other. And he's also a huge Jordan fan, and he just kind of was like, "Hey, can you do this for me?" And it's like anything in life. You've got the relationship, and he made it happen. So I've
like the story is actually pretty interesting. Like these cards like really, really mean something to this guy. According to the article. It's almost like when he was growing up, like Jordan helped him get through a tough time in life.
It meant everything to him. He did not grow up wealthy. This is like a working class guy, regular dude. Again, no one. He is not in the hobby. He is not on Instagram. He's never been on anybody's show. He's a total ghost.
Now, we know that Probstein has a lot of the PSA 10 Fleer Jordan rookies. I think he has like 30-something. There is also a rumor that Probstein sold some of his Fleer 10 rookies to this collector. There's actually a clip that I found from James Beckett when he interviewed Probstein.
By the way, do you know what also doesn't exist?
But I don't think they'll do that.
No, I know. There's no 1010 Jordan autos.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Rick, when I was in charge, that's because none of them met the standard. There's no quota or rationing.
I meant signed. There's no signed
with the 10 signature and the 10 card.
Yeah. There's no 10 auto, 10. That card doesn't exist.
I don't think they're trying to withhold things. I think they have a standard they're trying to grade toward. And if they're not, then shame on them. And shame on any company that's grading based on who's submitting it. And I'm not looking for you to get extra consideration. I'm looking for you to get the same consideration that anybody that walks up with 30 Jordan rookies.
So that kind of makes you think maybe Probstein helped the guy or he was involved in some way. Maybe he's not involved at all. I also made another video a while back where Probstein tried to cross all his PSA 10s to at least one BGS 10, and he wasn't able to do that. They said none of them were qualified to be a BGS 10, which I thought was very interesting. You would think at least one of them would cross to a BGS 10.
The moment of truth has arrived. I got my grades back from Beckett, and it's mood changing. Either I'm going to be in a fantastic mood or not so fantastic. Now, every one of them are back, and you can see there's no Beckett holder. Okay? I was 0 for 31. Before I show you the cards, I just want to do some basic math. Back in the day, 10 years ago, they have not given a Beckett 10 in 10 years. Okay, at the time, there were 6 Beckett 10s. There were 40 PSA 10s. So that's about a 7-to-1 ratio. Okay, so the 7-to-1 ratio is it back in the day. Now, you submit 31, right? You would think I could get at least one. But no. I got 0. 0 for 31. Okay, so if you're a hater, you have your moment right now. Now, let's take a look how they gave me back the cards. Every card was stickered with what they felt was deficient. Okay? In order to get a Beckett 10, you need 3 subgrades as a 10 and 1 as a 9. 9.5, sorry.
By the way, my friend is local. He has 20. So 50 of the 300 plus are basically 2 people. I'm not sure if there's anybody else who has more than we do.
It's possible. Again, there's more cards out there than people think. But
do you know any of the, when I said to you before that one guy had at least 4 or 5 of the 7 BGS 10s, you smiled. Do you know where they are?
No, I don't even want to know. But again, if this was 10 years ago, Rick, they would have been way less than half what they are now. Maybe 1/4, 1/5, probably more than 1/10.